Staying with politics, now the ANC's highest decision-making body is holding an important NEC meeting today. This is in which it could potentially take a decision on former President Zuma. This is after he announced that he will be voting for the newly formed uMkhonto weSizwe political party. For more on this now, we take you to our reporter Samkele Maseko, who's watching the story for us. Sam, thank you so much for your time. Let's start by unpacking this. Tell us what could be today's decision on the former president's announcement regarding voting the MK.
Well, Mkolisi, what we do know is that that report that was tabled by the Secretary General on behalf of the National Working Committee of the party will be deliberated this morning. In fact, the meeting has just started. That is part of the issues that are covered in the National Working Committee report, which looks at the day-to-day running of the organization and some of the recent political developments within the country. But I'm going to bring in Mrs. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri to just speak on this specific issue of the agenda that is there today, with the last day of the NEC taking place, and later on this afternoon the NEC Lekgotla will then take place. Mrs. Bhengu-Motsiri, just the essence of this NEC meeting. What is on the agenda? What item are you on currently?
Yes, of course, a continuation of day one of the NEC that took place, which had to be adjourned for us to go and bury one of our own and send her off with the dignity that it requires, Comrade Violet Siwela. Today we are back. We are looking at several issues, including the student funding matter, National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS. We're going to be looking at the work that is being undertaken to make sure that when the Back to Campus campaign begins, it is seamless in as far as young people being catered for according to the mandate of the NSFAS. That will be one of the items on the agenda. The second item on the agenda will be a consideration, ongoing consideration of the National Working Committee report, which was tabled by the Secretary General the other day, and now must then be discussed, interrogated, and some decisions arrived at by the National Executive Committee. And of course the report looks at many issues in the political environment, looks at a number of issues in the endogenous issues in the organizational environment, and looks at geopolitical issues as well. Alongside that will be discussed with the political overview that was done by the President on day one. So those are some of the discussions that are going to be unfolding. The last key item, second last key item, would be then consideration of the reports from the Integrity Commission, and looking at the terms of reference, the reviewed terms of reference of the Integrity Commission of the ANC, and then considering a number of wide-ranging reports that have been processed by the Integrity Commission. Those are just some of the items that are going to be considered today. Of course, we then move on to the Lekgotla. We will then tomorrow morning outline the detailed program of the annual Lekgotla.
When you're looking at some of the decisions that need to be made, there are two proposals on the table on former President Jacob Zuma. One is to expel him immediately, which is ventilated by some NEC members. Don't ask me who told us. Then the second view is you defer the issue and you ultimately discipline him after the elections around June. Which way is it swaying on those two particular matters? Because that is ultimately the decision, whether to expel him now or to defer it to June.
I myself will become a subject of the disciplinary committee if I were to make a pronouncement when the NEC has not done so. The NEC is going to be looking at that matter of the MK party. Of course, our strategy, I can say for sure that our strategy is multi-pronged, and it's already of public knowledge that we've gone to court to protect our trademark, and because these are patented and they belong to the ANC, the symbol of MK, the name uMkhonto weSizwe, that we are not going to default on, falter on rather, because that speaks to our liberation heritage as the African National Congress. With regards to the constitutional violations that are evident on the part of Jacob Zuma as a member of the ANC, that will be subjected to the discussion. And I emphasize that he is a member of the ANC. He's not looked at in terms of rank, because all members of the ANC are supposed to be equal before the law of the ANC, which is the constitution of the ANC. That is going to be looked at. There are a number of options that are being considered. I'm not going to speculate on that because that is the domain of the National Executive Committee.
So essentially it is an issue of whether he's expelled after this NEC meeting, an announcement is made today, or it is deferred up until after the election so that it does not sidetrack the election campaign?
Well, I will ask the SABC in the form of Samkele Maseko to await the discussion inside the NEC venue. I can assure you that as soon as a decision has been arrived at, myself and the Secretary General will come out to brief members of the media.
Thank you very much to the ANC spokesperson, Mrs. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, saying ultimately a decision will be made today on Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Mhlanganyelwa Zuma and his future as a member of the African National Congress.